All right, so I'll be meeting with a patient, 23-year-old male who is experiencing right shoulder pain. So go ahead and start.
All
All
right,
right.
sweet.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
So what brings you in today?
Well, lately I've been having some flare-ups with some pain in my right shoulder. Um, I guess I should give you a little backstory. And previously, I've had reconstructive surgery on my labrum. I had what's called a slap tear, and they did that. And I'm almost 12 months post-op. So in terms of like the recovery, it should be recovered internally. But we're just having pain as we do like lots of different things.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What are some of the things that you do that kind of aggravate your shoulder?
So majority of the time, anything like overhead would increase that pain. But like if we were to get into the specifics, since I've been dealing with this for quite a while, internal and external rotation are probably the biggest things that'll cause pain. But like even if I'm gonna go through my daily living and I'm just gonna like brush my teeth or wash my hair, like comb my hair, depending on the day, it might be worse than others.
Okay. When you do experience or like when you are doing those like daily activities like brushing your teeth and getting ready for the day, do you notice if the pain is more significant in the morning or if it's like it happens throughout the day?
I would say typically in the morning, it is a little bit stiffer and more sore, and like the pain's probably heightened compared to throughout the day. I've noticed if I sleep on my right side, I'll probably wake up in the middle of the night because it's kind of like impinged against my ear and like the nerves aren't getting that blood flow. But then throughout the day, it slowly gets better, and there's less pain with it. Like if anything, I'd say it's pain free until I do those specific movements that aggravate it.
Okay. In addition to that, then, if you don't mind me asking, is there anything that you do for work that could probably aggravate it, like a day-to-day basis that could kind of flare it up?
Um, I would say some days at PT school, it could have a flare up depending on what we're doing in lab. Since a lot of our courses are hands-on, we tend to work with other people and they need to see how our body moves and feels. And so certain days like that, I might have to lift up a patient, and if I do it improperly, it causes a little grief.
Oh, shucks. Well, with that being said, then is there anything else that could have like what are some other symptoms that you kind of experience aside from pain?
Um, I would say stiffness, but that also could stem back to just like the previous like actual injury and like the post surgery, just because I no longer have like the range of motion. Um, but I would say there's like a achiness some days after doing like a upper body workout at the gym. Um, but like I would say overall that achiness comes from if I were to try and go back to like throwing a baseball.
Okay. So have you played baseball or any overhead or throwing sports since getting the surgery, or did you notice that whenever you would do that it would flare up?
I would say like I haven't played any of them competitively. I have done volleyball recently, which is an overhead sport. But I tend to restrict myself because of that reason. And so I don't have like the same capabilities. But the baseball side, I would say I haven't really done much regarding that. Like when I first moved down, a little bit of throwing, but recently probably haven't done anything regarding that.
Okay. When you so I know that you feel pain whenever you do things that kind of aggravate like an internal rotation and external rotation, but does it also bother you while you're just like going about your day, or is it kind of like whenever you move a specific way, then it kicks in?
Yeah, it's more so on the side of when I'm moving specific ways. Like if I'm just sitting here, or if you're just to get me to like move my arms around, I'd be okay with that. But it's like when we're getting into, even more so when there's like resistance or a load against it, that's probably when there's like the most pain.
Okay. Now, what are some of the things that you want to see moving forward? I know you're here to see me because of that shoulder pain, but what is it that you want to work on to kind of either, yeah, what do you want to work on?
No, that's a great question. So ideally we get back to playing baseball competitively and throwing the ball relatively close to what we used to throw it at. But on top of that, just like doing overhead movements, pain free, increasing a little bit of my range of motion. Um, I don't know, just trying to I tend to be quite active, so I would like to be able to have the freedom to remain as active as I would like.
Okay, that's a good goal to work toward. More specifically, is there a time frame that you want to have that completed by, or really just over time?
Just over time, I'm not like in too much of a rush, especially with school being as busy as it is. There isn't as much free time to go and play competitive baseball every day. So
Okay. Were you competitive, or did you play that throughout college or undergrad?
yeah, I played for 4 years in college. And then we tore the labrum and called it quits.
Ah, that can do it sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So it looks like I have a lot of information here just to summarize everything that you kind of told me. Again, one of your chief complaints is that shoulder pain in your right arm. Some of your goals include wanting to increase range of motion, and getting back into playing, being more active, since that is one of the things that you like to do. Um, it was a post-surgery 12 months ago due to a slap tear, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's something that we can definitely work toward, if that's something that you want to do. Aside from all of that, is there anything else that you want to share with me? Maybe, actually, one thing I am curious about is, aside from what goes on outdoors, what happens in PT school, what is your living situation like? Is there anything at home that could potentially either aggravate or maybe even help you to kind of alleviate the pain that you feel in your shoulder?
I wouldn't say there's too many things that would aggravate it at home or in my living situation that I would like have to do. But I do live alone, so when I is if there is a task to be done, I'm the one to do it. And if, for example, I was to have to reach something overhead and lift it heavy or something like that, I would be the one to do it. But typically that doesn't occur. But on the sides of to alleviate the pain, like I do have a cryotherapy machine here and a lot of like therapeutic things from the past 12 months that I've been trying to help with the recovery. But other than that, that's about it.
Good. So it looks like you're already doing things to kind of help as far as making sure that it doesn't get worse. I know sometimes, especially after post-surgery, the fear is um, either injuring it again or aggravating it in a way where it kind of stops us from doing things. But that's good that you're already working towards rehabbing it. And then I definitely want to help you kind of further that progression in the rehab process. So thanks for sharing that with me.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.